The sharp sting across my face snapped me back to the moment. My stepfather Victor Lang stood in the doorway of his home office, his hand still raised, eyes blazing with controlled fury. The vintage Patek Philippe pocket watch, my father Robert's most prized possession, slipped from my fingers and clattered onto the hardwood floor. "You little thief," he hissed, grabbing my arm hard enough to leave marks that I knew would bloom purple by morning. "Breaking into my private space. Taking what's mine." I tasted blood where my teeth had cut the inside of my cheek, but I didn't flinch. At 34, as a medical compliance investigator at Riverside General Hospital in Riverton, Ohio, I'd faced down doctors falsifying records and nurses covering up errors. This felt different. Personal. Because this watch wasn't just an heirloom. It was the key to something bigger, something Victor had clearly gone to great lengths to hide. My name is Elena Brooks. 3 years ago, after my divorce drained every savings account I had, I moved back into the house I'd grown up in. My mother, Patricia, had remarried Victor just months after Dad died from complications of his long illness. What started as a temporary stay in my childhood bedroom quickly turned into something suffocating. Victor controlled everything: the finances, the house rules posted on laminated sheets, even how much my mother could spend at the grocery store. His daughter Sophia and her husband lived rent-free in the garage apartment while I paid $400 a month for the room where I'd once dreamed as a little girl. That evening, I was clearing dinner plates per one of Victor's endless rules when Sophia called him out to the garage about a supposed plumbing leak. Mom sat glued to her evening shows with that distant, glazed look I'd come to recognize. Victor's office door stood slightly ajar, rare for a man who locked it even for quick bathroom breaks. Something pulled me inside. The scent of his expensive cologne hung heavy. Stacks of bank statements with Mom's name sat neatly organized. And there, in a half-open mahogany box lined with velvet, lay Dad's watch. My hands shook as I lifted it. The familiar weight, the elegant engraving, RB, on the back. The tiny scratches from years of use. Dad used to let me wind it every Sunday afternoon in his basement workshop, teaching me about patience and the value of time. It had vanished right after his funeral. Everyone claimed it was lost in the chaos. Now here it was, hidden in Victor's drawer. "What the hell are you doing?" Victor's voice cut through like ice water. Sophia hovered behind him, her smirk suggesting the plumbing issue had resolved suspiciously fast. "That's my father's watch," I said steadily, my investigator instincts kicking in. "The one that disappeared after his funeral. Put it down. I bought that at an estate sale last month. Plenty of watches have those initials." I should have backed off, gathered more evidence, built an ironclad case like I did at the hospital. But holding that watch, feeling Dad's presence in its metal, something inside me broke. "No." The open-handed slap came fast. The watch flew across the room. Victor's grip tightened on my arm. "Thief. Always thinking you're entitled." Mom appeared then, eyes wide with confusion. "Victor? What's happening?" "Your daughter was stealing from me," he snapped. Caught her red-handed. Mom glanced at the watch on the floor, then back to me. "Elena, maybe it's a misunderstanding." Victor shoved me against the wall. "Get out of my house. 1 hour to pack or I call the police." I straightened, cheek throbbing. Calm settled over me, the same calm I felt when documenting violations.
"Fine.
But first, I'm going to the ER to document these injuries. And I'll be filing a police report for assault and theft." His face paled slightly. I'd been recording on my phone since entering the office. Another habit from work. Mom took photos of my bruises with shaking hands as requested. I packed quickly, leaving them in stunned silence except for the ticking of Victor's grandfather clock. The ER at Riverside General knew me well. But this time, I was the patient.
Dr.
Laura Chin, a colleague from past cases, examined me carefully. These marks are clear signs of assault.
Elena.
We'll document everything to chain of custody standards. With medical reports and police report number in hand, I checked into a motel and began piecing things together. The next morning, I visited old Mr. Harlan Whitaker, the watch repairman on Elm Street, whom Dad had trusted for decades. He studied my phone photos and pulled out his ledgers. That's Robert's watch. Serial number ending in 7392. Last serviced 2 years before he passed. He handed me a small envelope Dad had left with him, a brass key and note reading, Elena, the watch opens more than time. Trust the numbers.
Love.
Dad. Harlan explained the hidden compartment feature unique to this model. My pulse raced. This watch wasn't just sentimental, it was a literal key to something Dad had protected fiercely. I drove straight to Attorney Martin Reeves' office. The seasoned lawyer reviewed Dad's separate codicil that bequeathed the watch specifically to me at age 30, along with access to a safety deposit box containing documents for the Brooks Family Trust. Victor and his lawyer had claimed the watch missing during probate. The pieces clicked. Victor had targeted Mom shortly after Dad's death, marrying her quickly, seizing financial control. Public records showed Victor's pattern: multiple marriages to recent widows, bankruptcies, lawsuits where he always played the victim. He'd accessed court filings weeks before the wedding, searching for mentions of watches and trusts. This was premeditated. My phone buzzed with a text from Sophia's number. Mom wants to talk. Please. I ignored it and kept building my case timeline, financial trails, everything. Something was rotten in the Lang household, and the numbers would expose it all. Detective Ray Thompson from the Financial Crimes Unit met me at the station after my injunction filing. The judge had signed off quickly given the evidence of assault and potential asset concealment. We're heading to the Lang residence now to secure the watch, he said. Want to identify it on site? 2 patrol cars and an unmarked vehicle filled the driveway when I arrived. Victor stood on the porch, red-faced, gesturing wildly. This is harassment. I'll sue. Mom hovered behind him, looking smaller than ever. Elena, please. We need you to confirm the watch, Detective Thompson told me as his team began the search. Victor had moved it. Of course. Not in his office. Not in Sophia's apartment. They found it tucked in Mom's jewelry box, wrapped in tissue between Dad's wedding ring and pearls. Patricia hid it for me, Victor claimed quickly, to protect it from her thieving daughter. Mom's face crumpled. I didn't. I've never seen that before. The realization hit her hard. He'd planted it there as insurance, making her look complicit. The serial number matched Harlan's records perfectly. Mr. Lang, you're under arrest for theft over $5,000 and filing a false report. Thompson read him his rights. Sophia filmed from the garage doorway. Record away, I called. Discovery works both ways. After Victor was taken away, I approached Mom. He put it there to frame me, she whispered. How long has he been planning this? Probably since before Dad died, I said gently. These predators scan obituaries like shopping lists. She broke down, admitting Victor had helped with probate paperwork, introducing his own attorney who simplified things too much. I showed her records of Victor's prior wives, one missing coin collection, another drained investment portfolio. The pattern was identical. Mom agreed to stay with my aunt temporarily. Meanwhile, I met Detective Thompson again to plan a sting. Victor made bail fast, but his greed was predictable. I leaked info through a cousin at the local paper about the watch's potential $800,000 value due to rare complications. The story ran, quoting an anonymous expert, me, on its unique features. While waiting, Martin Reeves and I unraveled Victor's manipulations, power of attorney signed under duress, CDs transferred to joint accounts, A home equity line opened. Another 6 months, and Mom would have been stripped bare. On day 4, Thompson called.
Hit.
Sophia made an appointment at Parkway Estate Buyers with a Patek Philippe. Fake. Obviously. The sting played out perfectly. Sophia entered with a leather case, spinning a tale of inheritance and medical bills. The dealer, pre-briefed, flagged the serial as stolen linked. She bolted but was detained. In interrogation, she cracked. Victor directed her to test the market, knew about the trust, had researched probate filings pre-marriage. Text messages proved premeditation, checking for trust amendments weeks before the wedding. The watch was key to accessing Dad's tech company shares sold early in the 90s. Now worth nearly $800,000 in the Brooks Education Trust. With chain of custody protocols, Detective Thompson allowed one supervised hour with Harlan. The hidden compartment revealed rolled paper, routing numbers, and trust the process.
Love.
Dad. These unlocked beneficiary verification at the bank. Victor had stolen more than time. He'd nearly stolen my future security. But the numbers were turning against him now. The courtroom buzzed with tension 6 months later as interconnected criminal and probate matters were heard together before Judge Elena Vargas. I sat with Martin Reeves, bruises long healed but photos entered as stark exhibits. Victor hunched next to his public defender, looking diminished. Harlan Whitaker testified first, confirming provenance through decades of service records, unique scratches, and modifications. He described opening the hidden compartment under supervision, revealing the account numbers Dad had safeguarded. Victor claimed legitimate purchase, but produced no receipt. His burden of proof failed spectacularly. The dealer from Parkway testified about Sophia's attempted sale of the fake, with security footage showing Victor directing from a nearby car via phone. Then came Margaret Russo, one of Victor's prior victims. Remarried name after divorce. She detailed the charm, quick wedding, financial control, and $300,000 stolen from her late husband's estate before she hired a forensic accountant. The judge allowed it to show pattern and modus operandi despite objections. Sophia, having pled guilty to conspiracy for reduced time, didn't appear, but her messages were devastating evidence. I took the stand last, walking through the discovery, assault, documentation, and bank access. The trust held nearly $800,000 from Dad's early shares in his sold tech company. Victor knew. He researched it pre-wedding. Cross-examination crumbled under the weight of footage, texts, financial trails, and witnesses. The civil portion resolved swiftly. The watch and trust returned to me. Criminal charges advanced with bail revoked. Victor snarled as he was remanded. This isn't over. In the hallway, Mom hugged me tightly. Your father protected us, even after death. Detective Thompson updated. Sophia was cooperating on other victims. Victor faced 20 to 30 years potential. I wound Dad's watch that evening in my new apartment, funded by the first trust disbursement. Every tick reminded me of choices. Dad's to protect, Victor's to exploit, mine to fight. The forensic accounting recovered most stolen assets from Mom. Restitution efforts began for prior widows. But the real victory was deeper. Skills forged in pain now served a higher purpose. I joined the Elder Justice Task Force, investigating financial abuse of seniors using my medical compliance background and personal experience. My first cases echoed the same patterns, manipulators preying on grief. Each success honored Dad's legacy. 3 years post-conviction, the auction house gavel fell in Cleveland. Sold. The 19th century Patek Philippe pocket watch went to bidder 47 recovering it for Eleanor Vance, whose nephew had sold it while she was in hospice. My work with the task force had recovered millions in stolen assets across multiple states. The Hale Protocol for suspicious remarriages after widowhood became standard in 3 states. A reporter approached post-auction. 3 years since the Lang case. How has life changed? I found purpose, I replied. Last year alone, 12 million recovered. Every case starts when someone decides to fight back. No regrets about how it ended with Victor?
None.
He made his choices. Time ran out on him. I drove to Riverton Cemetery afterward, placing flowers by Dad's stone. Helped another family today.
Dad.
Eleanor Vance. You would have liked her strength. The watch ticked steadily in my pocket as I read notes from grateful families tucked at the grave, dozens now, thanking me for inspiring their fights. Mom visited evenings, rebuilding slowly through therapy. She'd started a widow support group, sharing red flags from her experience. Back at work, another case file waited, nursing home administrator draining accounts. I prepared documentation, knowing patterns never lie. The trust had given financial freedom, but Dad's letter in the safety deposit box was the true gift. The real inheritance isn't money. It's learning to fight for right, to stand against bullies, to trust truth. That purpose drove me daily, protecting the vulnerable, honoring the past by securing the future. One evening, as I wound the watch, its steady rhythm felt like promise. Every tick a choice. Every choice justice catching up. The phone rang with yet another prosecutor referral. Suspected manipulation at a senior living facility. Elder Justice Task Force. Elena Brooks speaking. Bring all documentation. Tell her the ticking isn't time running out. It's justice arriving. Driving toward the sunset, Dad's watch kept perfect time. Victor thought he'd stolen from the weak. Instead, he'd forged a warrior leading an army of investigators, advocates, and survivors. Grief strengthened me. Loss taught vigilance. The watch opened truth, justice, purpose, the greatest inheritance. At the cemetery later, a cardinal landed briefly on Dad's stone before flying off. I smiled. Some signs you just feel. The task force database showed 47 active cases. Hundreds more vulnerable people needed protection from predators who mistook grief for weakness. They were wrong. Grief created warriors. Dad's final gift reminded me, time isn't merely kept. It's honored through courage. I chose to fight daily, ensuring no one battled alone. The watch had opened everything that mattered, and I'd keep choosing justice.
Tick by tick.